I will now call the meeting to order at 7 p.m. here at McDavid Place, St. George. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the July 2025 regular council meeting for the Eastern Charlotte Council. I welcome all those that are attending here tonight and those that are watching us on TV or on the internet. I wanted to welcome CHCO for being here tonight. Dawson Hatt, I believe, is doing the camera tonight. Florence Mitchell's in the back, and Vicky's overseeing everything tonight. So thank you for being here tonight. At this point, I'll look for an adoption of the agenda, and I need a motion to adopt the agenda tonight. Councillor McKay. Seconder would be Deputy Mayor. Question or comment on the motion? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Contrary, and that's passed unanimously. 3, disclosure of conflict of interest. This is your opportunity to declare any conflict of interest. If not, I'm going to go to 4, adoption of the minutes of the previous council meetings. Councillor Lee, I think you said you were going to do a motion here tonight.
I move to approve the minutes as circulated to members of council for June the 18th, 2025 regular meeting of council, June 24th, 2025 meeting of the whole, July 8th, 2025 committee of the whole, July the 10th, 2025 special meeting of council.
We have a motion on the floor. I need a seconder for that. Councilor Thompson, sorry. Question or comment on that motion? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Contrary, and that's passed unanimously. That brings us to 5, business arising out of the minutes. There are none, no delegations tonight. That moves us over to, I believe, reports. Just bear with me for 1 sec. Department reports. We'll go to the general government report, and Jason, you're first.
Thank you, Your Worship. General government report for Eastern Charlotte for the month of June 2025. Water and wastewater on June the 3rd. On Globe Engineering presented updates and formal plans moving forward for the well exploration project, the IBA project, and also for a phase 2 project to begin. They have now formalized the phase 2 plans and are being presented to the province for assistance and funding, which will be estimated at about $150,000. Phase 2 plans include a phase 2A system assessment for the entire Black Arbor water system, and O&M improvements of the current Black Arbor water system, and communication processes within the Black Arbor water system. Phase 2B is a transmission main renewal, the preliminary conceptual design, estimate, funding application for the preliminary concept, estimates and funding application, it's about 4 weeks, and agreements with the private water supply owner, which would be 5 months. The water tower cleaning was postponed to the end of July. We've now just received actually word this week that it's going to be the first week of August. But that's planning to get done. A new dredging tender will be posted actually this week for the lagoons in Black Arbor. CBCL continues to work on a well exploration for St. George, that IBA project, and a new lagoon expansion or upgrades, another IBA project, and met with industry on volumes and targets for wastewater. Housing and development, the Brunswick Street in St. George here apartment building project is regaining momentum by the developer. I think he's looking to come and present to council within likely the month of August. It is awaiting subdivision plans to give their response and a response on the municipal development agreement. I guess, sorry, that was for Hillside subdivision project here in St. George. Project Village housing projects in Black Arbor is progressing, albeit slow. Engineering company on the new Lewis Connors Road multi-unit have been in contact with the municipality. Just have not received any update in the last couple of weeks with Project Village, even though I've asked for some updates. Waiting to meet with the new owners of the old hospital in Black Arbor as well. They are interested in doing further development and getting that project back on track. And I think they'll be looking at coming to council likely at the start of September. Childcare, Murdoch and Boyd firm currently working on schematic design layouts for the new building, and a preliminary estimate was received from a local builder, and discussion on the location of the building at J.L. Spinney Drive is also underway. And just to give you an update, we've also engaged with the Funday Engineering and Surveying to give us a topo survey and more of a seismic survey, which is required for those type of buildings, something that was never done here with McDavid Place, but that is also underway as well. Public Works paving of Main Street in St. George and Hospital Street has been completed, awaiting schedule of Granite Street, the southern portion of Campbell Hill Road. and Brunswick Street, the upper bridge to the elementary school. Renovations to the administration office of the former library upstairs is now completed, and the room downstairs, the administration room, has been completed there too. Patching will continue in St. George, and there's an upcoming patching project for roads in Blacks Harbor. Parks and Recreation awaiting return of the fencing company to complete repairs to the baseball field here in St. George and install fencing on the newly paved courts in Blacks Harbor. Relocation of the playground on the Main Street, for the playground on Main Street is underway. Those have been removed. There's perhaps half of the fixtures will be reused. The other half will have to be retired. They're just beyond any type of repair. I believe they came in the early 70s in the village and definitely have gotten their life. Some fixtures had to retire due to structural issues and rust. The playground will be located next to the courts in Blacks Harbor. For fire, the tender is being finalized for a new fire truck, pumper, and support truck, the retirement of Unit 650 in Blacks Harbor. Eastern Charlotte is taking part in a regional wildfire resiliency plan, funding via the feds in the province. The funding is likely to go to the Service Commission, just finalizing how that regional plan is going to look like. Dangers on unsightly properties, quotations received. There's on the agenda for tonight for 2 demolitions of 2 properties, one in Bonnie River and one in Utopia. And staffing interviews are being scheduled for the Parks and Recreation labor operator role and the project manager economic development role. And that is the general government report.
Thank you, thank you, Mr. Gadet. Any questions or comments from council? Council Dadarakis, you're first.
I had read online that there's a nearby municipality that they're just starting to work on their budget. They're putting out a survey for their residents. When do you think that we will start working on our budget?
Typically, we wait for the Service Commission. That's a big part of our budget. Once they've finalized theirs, even to get a preliminary numbers, then we will start ours as well. So I believe that should be coming up here next month, so probably month of September.
Yeah, the Service Commission, they're starting their discussions next week on that. If that's no other questions, comments, just regrets tonight. All councils here tonight except for Councillor Hatt. His regrets are sent because he has to work tonight. It's a nice hot day in St. George, so I want to thank everybody for coming out tonight. At this point, I want to call on Alex Henderson to come forward and give a report on the Southwest New Brunswick Service Commission.
Thank you, Your Worship and Council. So as the CEO talked about, the final plan of subdivision for the Hillside Estates is at the completion stage. Developer can bring in their final plan with the clerk's assent once they got the municipal development agreement finalized. So they're good to go. We've sent their approval letter with all the planning details already satisfied. There's a application at 48 Levitt Road in the Fundy Bay planning area, rural plan. It's a terms and conditions application for a tourism use. So these are some glamping domes. PRAC is going to be considering it. It's allowed, but just has to have neighbor consideration for that kind of development. There's a PRAC letter that went to council regarding the proposed rezoning off Poor House Hill Road, and that's the 5-lot commercial business park development. Now, staff wasn't available for the public hearing that was last week, but if there's any questions or comments that came up during that public hearing, I'm happy to answer anything that would have related to that. In terms of development, you've had 43 building or demolition permits issued year to date, 11 new permits the last month, just about $5 million in new construction value added to Eastern Charlotte year to date. You've had 10 subdivision plans approved, with 2 new in the last month and 2 lots in the last month as well. Number of zoning confirmation letters, approval or deed exemption documents, and you've had 23 net new homes or apartment units added year to date, with 2 new in the last month. In terms of enforcement, you've had 3 new enforcement files open the last month and 21 since the beginning of the year. And that's under various bylaws which we enforce on behalf of council. So there's a number of files that are, a number of properties that are non-compliant and remain outstanding from last year in terms of orders that have been given. And staff can advise council on further enforcement actions that could be taken by council to bring some of these properties into compliance. And that's my report. If there's any questions, happy to take them.
Thank you, Alex. Any questions? Councilman McKay, you're first.
Okay, Alex, this is regarding the rezoning on Poorhouse Hill. So I guess I have a few questions. I'm a little unsure of what so right now it's zoned agricultural multi-use, right?
It's agriculture and the forestry zone.
Okay,
so
agriculture.
resource type developments with residential homesteads as secondary.
Okay. So what does multi-use entail?
Okay, so it would be proposed to go to the mixed-use zone
Yeah.
under the Fundy Bay Rural Plan Regulation.
Right,
And the mixed-use zone is a zone which you'd find in Upper Latang, so around the Tim Hortons Ultramar, as well as you'd find in Back Bay. So this is where you have a mix of commercial, residential. You could have some light industrial type uses, not heavy industrial uses. That's a separate zone completely.
okay,
And in this case, in this zone, they're looking to do the commercial. So things like contractor yards,
right.
service stations for automobiles, that type of use.
Okay, so once it's rezoned, could that potentially change for what they want to use it for? Could it go light industrial? Once it's rezoned, it's not to say the owner doesn't want to do something different, right?
Yeah, that's true. So there are some limitations in the zone that they
Right.
could go under. So some light industrial could include things like warehousing or aquaculture. So one of the things which council could consider, if they're concerned about the light industrial categories, certain ones that they would prefer not to see developed, you could put a stipulation of a condition on the rezoning. So one of the
Okay.
conditions staff's recommended, mainly to deal with the issues around non-compatibility with surrounding farms or resource with the pit, as well as the potential commercial developments themselves, would be to say no residential development on these lots.
Right,
So council could also add in its own conditions to say, or it could, obviously, it is its council's conditions. Staff's only recommending a set. Council could wipe that recommendation away and put its own conditions in as it sees fit. One of the things council could do would say no light industrial uses, as well as no residential uses, for example.
okay. So just light industrial, okay, I just have some hypotheticals here. So a light industrial, if somebody wanted to put in a waste management, would that be considered light industrial?
Actually considered waste management would be more of a utility type service, and that
Okay.
would be like if you were talking about something that's run by the province or the municipality,
Right.
that's something which it would be considered a utility service.
Okay,
If it was something that was a private thing, like a salvage dealer, that would actually go into the heavy industrial category, which would not
Okay.
be permitted in the
Okay.
mixed use zone.
okay.
Yep.
So you had said something about aquaculture
Yep.
use. So let's just say a lobster fisherman wanted to put a warehouse in for bait.
Yep.
Would that be allowed under light industrial?
Potentially, but there would be conditions on that in the plan as it is already. So there's
Okay.
conditions around the storage of bait to be in refrigerated or sealed containers and so
Okay.
many meters from an adjacent dwelling to deal with those types of concerns.
Okay,
But yeah, potentially.
okay,
Another example of aquaculture could be, on Mealy Road, there was the old
net washing,
Yeah, well,
That's-
there's that. That's an example of something perhaps that could fit in that.
okay,
There's the where they used to grow sturgeon and sea urchins, and example of an aquaculture type use. Yeah,
okay. And that could go under light industrial?
potentially yes. Yeah.
Thank you very much,
You're welcome.
Alex.
Any other questions for Alex? If not, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it. This brings us to the fire report, and Councillor Thompson, you're next.
The fire report for June 2025. Eastern Charlotte Fire Rescue responded to 6 fires, 31 medical calls, 8 public services, 6 false alarms, and 16 training events, for a total of 68 calls. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Any questions on that from council? Oh, sorry, Councilor Dederak.
Thank you, Your Worship. I have a question for our CAO. It says for resuscitation calls other than listed, there were 15 calls. What does this fall under? What is this exactly? Are they
Yep, so-
overdoses?
Overdoses could be listed within that.
Okay.
It's basically anything that's not fitting those previous three sections. So could be difficulty breathing, I believe. Respiratory emergencies, more or less for that. But yeah, it could be any of those ones that aren't listed. So someone having a severe cut, those type of things would fall under that type of medical call.
That would be under first aid, though. I guess for next time, if we could have a detail of what that actually is, a definition of what that is for next time.
It's because it's put into the FIR system, which is our tracking system. We just pull that report. We don't necessarily break them down to that
Okay.
to that degree. It's just anything that doesn't fit into those resuscitation calls. But I can certainly get them to speak to that in the next one. What is that?
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay, we move along to the Public Works Report. Councilor McQuarrie.
With the exception of the dates on the reports, I submit that the reports be as written.
Okay. Any questions or comments from those reports? Council had a chance to read them this past weekend. If not,
Sorry, just if I can, Your Worship, just a couple things there with, I know Councillor had asked for previous month for testing results and sampling results to be put into the report, and that has been done for this report and moving forward. And just some items to note. We're moving ahead with the Public Works garage in Blacks Harbor upgrades to that. So anyone's familiar with Blacks Harbor, and behind the arena, there's the sewage lagoon, and so that's where we'll be relocating all of our Public Works operations. So I know we had a meeting with Councilor McQuarrie with Public Works and with our contractors, so we're moving ahead with that to do those updates. Council may recall we did a borrowing application, maybe it was last year, and so that's getting back on track to get completed before winter.
okay, thank you. There are no other questions. I'll move along to the Parks and Recreation Report. Parks and Recreation Report, Eastern Charlotte Recreational Complex. The shutdown and ice removal is complete. Painting and general maintenance being completed throughout the building. Acquiring quotes for the upgrades needed in the mechanical room. Spring lacrosse sessions have started. Scheduled summer safety inspections, the sprinkler and fire protection. Simcoe is scheduled for reseal of the condenser tower. Paving for the basketball, ball hockey courts have been completed. Now waiting for quotes for fencing, pea stone for the playground area. Parking lot painting has been completed. We hosted the Bicycle Safety Rodeo in May, and we were pleased to host FMHS Grand March again this year. Wi-Fi boosters have been installed, and cameras have been quoted for streaming the ice surface live. Canal Beach, the boat dock is put in for the season. Garbage cans, picnic tables put out. The Moby mat installed for summer. A volleyball net put up. Swim buoys put out ready for the season. Parks and Rec do daily garbage removal as needed and checks of the bathrooms and the beach for garbage debris. The ball fields, drainage of Veterans Field is to be completed. Hydro seeding's done. The new drag and roller purchased for Veterans Field. Both fields are mowed, dragged, rolled, and lined for games as needed. The splash pad startup is done. Filters were checked and cleaned as needed, and chemical levels monitored daily. The Riverside Park, the boat docks are put in. The new picnic tables put out. Construction has begun on the new waterfront shelter. Mowing, snipping has been done as needed. Macadavic Community Center, that's where we're sitting here tonight. Macadavic Community, the new fencing for the basketball court installation is complete. New bleachers installed. Playgrounds, checks of the municipal playgrounds done regularly. Community gardens, new shed built by Fundy Middle High School arrived in Blacks Harbor. The shed is stocked with tools and new hoses. Mowing and snipping done as needed in St. George and Blacks Harbor. Events Canada Day Community Breakfast at the Macadavic Center, barbecue and music in the park, and Black's Harbor Summer Concert Series starting in July, and planning and prep for Summer Fest and Fog Festival in full swing. Any questions or comments? Yeah, you go ahead.
Let's add to that, Your Worship. So just a couple things there. One, with the arena, we are working with the new Minor Hockey Association on a ice level camera. They have committed to us that they're going to bring a camera for live play action that will be installed at the arena as well. Just with Canal, we do ask residents that if they're out using Canal, if you're digging holes and doing sandcastles, to please fill them in afterwards. It is a big item with staff to go there the next day and have to fill those in. The also issue is the further down you dig at Canal, you start to get clay, and some of that clay is coming out into the sand, and it doesn't really do wonders for the beach. As well with rocks, I know some people like to take rocks and put them on their blankets, but if you maybe can take the rocks and throw them back into the woods, that would be great as well. In Riverside Park, we've paused some of the building. The contractor is just waiting for a final permit. He has committed that he's going to be here next week, and I've just checked on that permit. Hopefully by the end of this week, we'll have that finalized to get back on track with that. And I guess just one last thing for residents is the Summerfest brochure is out for events this weekend. You can pick it up at various different locations, but it's also on easterncharlotte.ca under Summerfest. And if there's any questions, you can certainly reach us at the municipal office.
Great. Just want to add to that, make sure the fireworks are this Saturday night at the high school. It's Cook's 40th anniversary this year, so they put a lot of effort and money into this year. So make sure everybody has the opportunity to get out to see the fireworks show. That is at dusk on Saturday night. There's lots of stuff going on. Like say the community party. I don't want to be here all night and go over every item, but everything starts on Thursday and it goes right through until Sunday. So get your brochures and see what's going on. Any questions? If not, we'll move ahead. Committee reports. Any committee reports tonight? Councillor Tidd.
Just briefly with the Personnel Committee, in regards to the park and recreation, as our CAO had mentioned, we're just finishing up the external interviews. The internal position has been filled internally, and the external one, we're just finishing that up. And hopefully, within the not-too-distant future here, we're going to be setting up an interview process for the Economic Development Officer.
Great. Thank you. I just want to add one more thing, too. I forgot to add it to the fire report. Chief Morton has made the personal decision to step down from the rank of battalion chief and accept reassignment to the position of captain. This move allows him to continue serving the department in a leadership capacity while focusing on areas that align more closely with the current professional and personal goals. Chief Morton has served with distinction in the role of battalion chief, and his contributions to this department and the personnel under his command have been greatly valued. His decision to continue serving as captain reflects his ongoing dedication to the mission, values, and the people of this department. While this transition marks a change in title, it does not diminish the leadership, experience, or commitment that Chief Morton brings to our organization. He remains a respected officer and will continue to play an important role in mentoring others and supporting operations and strengthening the overall effectiveness of our teams. Please join me in thanking Battalion Chief Morton for his service in that role and supporting him as he continues his career as captain. That came from the fire chief. I'm sorry, Councilor Dedriakis.
This is on behalf of the Health Committee. So we have a meeting scheduled next week with the New Brunswick Medical Education Foundation. They'll be giving a presentation to council on the work they do. The foundation provides scholarships and support to New Brunswick medical students who commit to practicing in underserved areas of the province. Their goal is to help recruit and retain young doctors, especially in the communities with a strong need for primary care providers like ours. We know that this approach is already being used in other areas of the province, including Rothesay. And with budget season around the corner, this may be something that council wishes to pursue.
Great. Thank you. If there's no questions or comments, we'll move on to 8, which is the financial statement. I'll need a motion to accept the financial reports for June 2025. Councillor Lee? We are making a motion. Councilman Corey, you're going to second that, or is it? Question or comment? All those in favor of accepting the financial reports for June 2025 signify by saying aye. In contrary, that's passed unanimously. Old business. That brings us to proposed bylaw 22-FNB-056-01, a bylaw to amend bylaw number 22-FNB-056-00, being the rural plan for the Fundy Bay planning area. Council, what's your pleasure?
I'd like to make a motion.
Oh, you want, okay.
Could I make a motion?
Yep.
Okay. Okay. Just bear with me. So the motion I would make, whereas 738777 NB Inc., the owner of the lands located at Route 176 and identified PID number 013445589 in Fundy Bay, New Brunswick, as shown in Schedule A, herein referred to as a development site, whereas the municipality of Eastern Charlotte has rezoned development site from agriculture and forestry AF zone to the mixed-use zone MU under bylaw 22 FNB 056-01, a bylaw to amend bylaw 22 FNB 056-00, passed on 2025 and subject to the terms and conditions imposed in this resolution. Be it resolved that Council of the Municipality of Eastern Charlotte, pursuant to Section 59 of the Community Planning Act, impose the following terms and conditions on the rezoning. A 30-meter wide landscape buffer, including a fence, to be installed and maintained along the northern lot line. A 30-meter wide buffer with a minimum of 2-meter high visual screen consisting of either fences or hedges or a belt of trees shall be installed and maintained along the lot line adjacent to a residential use. Any lighting is shielded downward facing and directed so that no light shines on another property, and that it would only be used for light commercial, and no industrial uses shall be permitted on the subject lands. That's my motion.
I'm just going to wait 1 second to make sure.
I can, yes.
Chris gave up. I don't blame
Yes.
you. Yeah. So basically, you're in, I guess I'm asking, just ask a question for you.
Yep.
Is you're in favor of the third and final reading, but with these conditions? Is that-
Yes.
Okay, that's what I wanted to get. So I need a seconder for that at this point.
That it's, yeah, okay.
Yeah. You want the third reading, but definitely with those conditions in place.
With those conditions, that no industrial uses shall be,
No industrial uses?
right.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, so this is not for a third and final reading. This is just a motion to add the conditions to this.
Yes.
So we're going to do one step at a time. So the first, the motion is with these conditions added. Can you just read just the conditions?
Just the conditions, yeah.
themselves? I know you had a lot there, but just the
Yeah.
conditions. That way council's clear.
Okay.
And then,
Just bear with me. So the conditions will be a 30-meter wide buffer with a fence installed along the northern lot line. A 30-meter wide buffer with a minimum 2-meter high visual screen consisting of either fences or hedges or a belt of trees shall be installed and maintained along the lot line adjacent to residential use. Any lighting is shielded downward facing and directed so that no light shines on another property, and only light commercial use, no industrial use, shall be permitted on the subject lands.
so at this point, I need a seconder. Okay, I don't have a seconder. So at this point, what is council's pleasure on old business 9A? For the third and final reading of this. I need a motion for that if we want to move ahead. Yeah, okay, good. Deputy Mayor's going to make I'm going to let you read the motion, if you could.
Be it resolved that council accept the third and final reading by title only of bylaw 22 FMB 05601, a bylaw to amend bylaw number 22 FMB 05600, being the Royal Plan for Fundy Bay Planning Area.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor by the Deputy Mayor. I need a seconder for that. Councillor Thompson? Question or comment on the motion? Okay, Councillor Ted, you first.
I guess just, I have a question in regards to Councillor McKay's proposed amendments. I'm just wondering was it a property owner that suggested we make those amendments? And if so, did they have a chance to make that at our public hearing? I guess that's just my only concern.
Can I comment on that, Mr. Mayor?
Please go ahead.
There was a letter written to council asking for a 30-day extension to find out, so they could find out the ramifications by Generations Church, the ramifications of what this would do, according, because the church is it butts right up against the property line. And they asked for a 30-day, and I was told Thursday night at the public hearing that this would not be on tonight's agenda, which would give them their 30 days to look into it, but it was on tonight's agenda. So there were some concerns, yes, about what was actually going to go in there and how it was going to affect the church.
Questions or comments on the motion for third and final reading? Councillor Dedirakis?
So I was at the public hearing, and what I understood what the concern was from the folks that, raised their concerns was the potential for industrial. And thank you, Alex, for clarifying that UM actually does include light industrial. We didn't have that clarification then. So, and according to the applicant, if I understood correctly, they are using this to be rezoned for more commercial use, correct? So, Alex and council, is there an issue with, may I ask Alex the questions, okay? Your worship?
Absolutely. He's coming right over there.
That was a hybrid
That way-
model.
that way
Thank
gives
you.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, so you were saying, Alex, that to take those into consideration, that way it eases everyone's anxiety, whether it is the developer or if it's the nearby, the church. If we add a recommendation as a fourth item to not include light industrial, that is an option
That's correct, yeah.
for those parcels of land. Is that how you word it?
Yeah, I would, and just one further piece of advice, if you're going to change that condition, which would Councilor McKay had modified the condition, the first one on the buffer between the church property and the first lot there, which understandable. Then the condition on the limitation to use. I think the way it's worded in the recommendation to council would just be to limit residential. I would suggest keeping it worded that way, but add a clause and light industrial uses, as opposed to stating light commercial uses, because actually that's not a defined term in the bylaw, and so that could create challenges for actual permitting. So if you just add a clause prohibiting light industrial uses, that would capture, I believe, all the potential uses that were a concern.
So it would be just simply prohibiting light industrial uses?
Yeah, so that one clause there says no residential uses or light industrial uses.
Oh, that wasn't included on this one. So this was
Oh, was it not? Okay.
No, so this was, I believe Xander sent that to us.
Yes, yeah.
Okay, and that one, I don't have that in front of me, that copy. So that copy said, what did it say? It said no,
So yeah, it would be that no residential uses or light industrial uses be permitted on the, I guess it would be the development lands or the rezoned lands.
On the, what was it?
I guess the land, you could word it as lands marked in Schedule A of the bylaw, so that's the mapped properties.
Okay, Your Worship, it just would be with the addition on that amended bylaw. There's a spot in there, no residential, so it would just be adding another phrase of including.
Oh, no, like this one doesn't have it. It's just the 3 recommendations.
Correct.
But this one would be, the 4th one would be, I can't even read my handwriting. No residential uses or light industrial uses on the lands marked in Schedule A of bylaw.
Director.
I'm adding that motion.
Right.
I made that motion, I make the motion to amend this bylaw, to include that, please.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor to amend the motion, and the amendment, can you just maybe, for Chris, did you get it? If not, I'll ask her to say it again. Yeah, if you could say it.
Absolutely. Do I
Yeah.
read the whole resolution?
Yeah.
From the top? Yeah, just that, the amended portion, the amended portion. So the amended portion was item 4, no residential uses or light industrial uses on the lands marked in Schedule A of bylaw.
And Councilor McKay has seconded that. Question or comment on this? If not, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Contrary? Contrary, there's no contrary? It's passed unanimously. So now we go back to the original motion with that added? Yeah. So we go back, now, what we need to go back to the original motion with that added to it. And any questions or comments on that with the original motion with those items added to it? Deputy Mayor, you had a question? No, okay. It's just like- Okay. Any questions? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary, and that's passed unanimously. Great. Thank you, Alex. Appreciate it. New business tonight, 10A, results. The RFQ 2025-003-A, the demolition of a building, PID 013-44829. I'm going to go to Jason first to speak on this, and then I'll look for a motion.
Thank you, Your Worship. So this is a request for proposals or a request for quotations. We've received 4 quotations there for the demolition that would be attached to PID 013-44829. And those, you can see that's my recommendation that we accept the quote provided by Caltech for the amount of $4,300.
Good. That's why I need a motion from council. Okay, I got, Councilor Thompson went first.
Be it resolved that council authorize the CAO to hire Caltech for the amount of $4,300 for the work described in RFQ 2025-003-A, demolition of the building, PID number 013-44829.
Good, we have a motion on the floor, seconded by the deputy mayor, I guess it was. Question or comment on the motion? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, and that's passed unanimously. And the second one, RFQ 2025-003-B, demolition of another building. I'll go to Jason to speak on this.
Thank you, Your Worship. So this was a tender request for proposals and quotations. There was 4 quotations received, and it's my recommendation that we accept the quotation provided by Utopia Groundworks for demolition of building for the amount of $6,383.
We need a motion for that tonight. Okay, Councilor Lee? Do you want to do, yeah, you go ahead.
Be it resolved that council authorize the CAO to hire Utopia Groundworks for the amount of $6,383 for the work described in RFQ 2025-003-B, demolition of building, PID number 40910.
Great, thank you, Councilor Lee. I need a seconder for that. Councilor Tidd? Question or comment on the motion? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, and that's passed unanimously. 10C, allocation of funds from the Black Sabbath Utility Operation Reserve Fund. I'm going to go to Jason to speak on this one.
Thank you, Worship. So this would be a request to move funds from the utility operating reserve. And this money would be going towards the Phase 2 of the water project for Blacks Harbor. As previously mentioned, Phase 2A and B. There is a price tag on doing that work. On Global will be conducting that work. This $25,000 will act as really the municipal's portion on the total project. We are still pending a conversation to be had with the province on full funding or the allocations of funding. But we certainly didn't want to wait another 30 days to not have that money ready. We want to hit the ground running as soon as we get approval from the province to start phase 2 for the Blacks Harbor water. So we are looking to take $25,000 from that utility reserve. I think we had a conversation maybe earlier this year on the operating reserve. There's about $26,000 in there. So this is really the perfect time to utilize that to pay for this study to help move the Blacks Harbor water ahead.
Okay, and phase 2 is the study for the, to get the pricing, is that?
Correct, yeah. So Phase 2A would be to look at the current Blacks Harbor water system, look at any type of smaller improvements that we could do, even with some of our methods and procedures, communications to residents as well. And then the Phase 2B would be to put a full costing and application together on a new transmission line for the Blacks Harbor water system. Of course, that's certainly dependent on full cooperation from the current private owner. But even without the cooperation, I guess, we'd be looking at even adding that to possible new wells if we find them too. So, but yes, this funds would be to cover those two, Phase 2A and 2B.
Great. This will move the project along a lot faster by doing this tonight, if we could. And that's something that I think this council really wants to do. So at this point, I have to entertain a motion at this point. Councilor Dederakis, you're going to make a motion?
Sure. Be it resolved that council authorize a transfer of $25,000 from the Blacks Harbor Utility Operation Reserves Fund to the Blacks Harbor Utility Operational Fund to be used towards Phase 2 of the water project.
We have a motion on the floor. I need a second. Go, we got all kinds of, Councilor Tidd, I saw your hand first. Question or comment on the motion? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. And that's done, that's passed unanimously. That brings us to correspondence. We had one correspondence. Thank you for your donation of 1 hour of ice time at the Blacks Harbor Arena to benefit our fundraiser for Nathan McNeil and Caitlin Pendleton. Your donation was greatly appreciated. Thank you, Katie Bellevaux. Public presentation appearances, number 12. Please note under bylaw EC-001, Section 7.1, members of the public shall be entitled to address council for 5 minutes with no debate from council on matters of municipal jurisdiction. I ask that you begin by giving your name and civic address for the record. I will also add, during this time, I will not tolerate or allow anybody to make accusations against anybody on any subject that works for Eastern Charlotte, any members of council, or anybody else for that matter. If that happens, I have to stop you and you'll be escorted out of the room. And you lose your opportunity to speak. So at this point, the microphone's right there. Going once. There we go.
I was waiting for the boys, but they're lagging. Karen Kernigan, 108 Latique Road, St. George. I just don't know what your plans are for Riverside Park, but I was out to New River this weekend that just passed, and we were up in the part of the park where they had cold water, of course. There was we were in a building and it was cold water in a sink, and they had like just a cheap little countertop there. So I was just kind of thinking, you know, that would kind of be a nice addition to your new building down there, just to have, so if people were there using it for something, doing a family barbecue or whatever, they'd at least be able to have some running water and wash their hands. You know, I know it's cold water, but it's quite a thing. And then just the countertop was nice to be able to work with. So I just thought maybe that would be something maybe you would think about. There's 6 of us here tonight for the council meeting, and I try to attend because I was one of the guilty ones when they were all yanging about taxpayers, you know, putting the taxes up, and I was one of the ones that just happened to pop in that night. So ever since then, I've tried to come because I take interest in our community, and I guess my suggestion is if we're here monthly, it would be nice if each one of the counselors would speak and say, well, this is what we want to do in our area. Like we would, or this is what we're going to do in our area in the next month or so, because I think that would be, keep people more aware of what's going to happen in our community. Because there was something that took place, and I happened to call our representative for the ward, and she had no idea of what I was talking about. And so I just thought, well, if my own representative of the ward doesn't know what's going on, then there's kind of there's miscommunication somewhere along the line. So I just think it would be nice if monthly, if everybody would give a little update of what's going on in their community so everybody knows what's going on. Thanks.
Great. Thank you, Karen. Appreciate it. Say hello to Sid for us. Okay. Just, oh, there we go.
Wayne Avery, 101 Main.
Wait.
You knew if I came, I was going to say something. And that. One thing I like to say, great job on Main Street. Looks awesome. My windows don't shake anymore. All I hear is the treads of vehicles, which is excellent. The basketball court, great job. Now I'd like to know is, 9 months ago I was here, and because I don't come because it's a waste of my time to sit down there. I do watch you on YouTube, right? But I talked about transparency and accountability. And one of the statements you guys made at that meeting was, we will look at every 3 months or every quarter. What's the progress on that? I haven't seen nothing in 9 months. Have you done anything, or you just talk that to tell me? Right? So I'd like to see the progress on that and what you guys are doing on that. Right? I have seen nothing on it. I doubt if you guys have done anything. So I'd like to know. The other thing is, I did get your letter on my complaint for conflict of interest, and I knew what the response was going to be right away before I even got this. And yes, I have appealed it with the government. Okay? Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for coming in tonight, Wayne. Appreciate it. Anybody else? Going once, twice, 3 times. Okay, at this point, I'll go to statements by members of council. I'm going to go to the deputy mayor first.
The only thing I've got is make sure everybody gets out and attends as many of the events as we can, or you can. Our staff and volunteers have put a lot of work into this, so it's hoping you get out and enjoy.
Okay, thank you. Councilor Thompson.
No, thank you.
All right, Councilor Dedirakis.
Yeah, sorry, I was just, Karen, thank you for speaking. I thank you everyone for speaking. I actually was looking at my bookshelf the other day, and I spotted this book from my first time I was on council, and our CAO gave it to us, and it was 12 Ways How to Kill a Community. And one of the items that they talk about is, I don't know which number it is on the pillars, but one of them is just not volunteering, not getting involved. And one of the things I like that you did is last year when, there was a lot of anger about, the lack of progress at the Adventure Lane, you got involved in helping paint the benches. So we need more of that. We need more engagement from folks. We need more people to step up and volunteer. I know everyone wants this community to look its absolute best, and we all have to work together. And Wayne, you mentioned about a progress report. I'll talk to you afterwards because I don't know what you're talking about. Are you talking about like a general progress report or for something specific? I could definitely work to figure out what that is that you're looking for. And I guess finally, it's Summerfest already. I can't believe it. This time my baby's going to be almost 2 years old, so hopefully we'll actually be able to enjoy doing things. Yeah, so we'll see you guys around.
Okay, thank you. Councilor McCord. Councilor Lee.
I just want to thank everybody for coming and sharing. I do appreciate your comments. Feel free to call any of us if you're looking for information. We can give it to you. I do like that idea of me
Councillor Tidd.
Yeah, I'd just like to thank everybody for coming out tonight, and to Karen's point, I think it is a great idea for ward councillors to give a monthly update. As you can appreciate, the ward system is new here in Eastern Charlotte, and part of the problem is that we may not be aware of everything that are actually going on in our wards because, quite frankly, it's a hybrid system right now. It's not like having within a city and having your ward councillors being responsible and the tax base falls in that. Right now, it's kind of a hybrid between us and the province. So hopefully we'll get there, and at least we can keep you abreast of what actually that we know about is going on. Thanks.
Councillor McKay.
I too want to thank everybody for coming. And once again, Karen, thank you. I look forward to hearing from you every month when you come. You always get up and you have some good ideas. So I don't know if you've ever considered getting on a committee, but you have some wonderful ideas. So, and I really like the thing about the pavilion down on Adventure Lane. I like that. Whether that happens or not, we can discuss it and see what goes on. But, and I also agree with Councillor Dedorakis about volunteers. I mean, that is the way that things happen. I know, I volunteer at my local church, and it seems like there's only the few people that volunteer all the time. But if you had more volunteers to come in, many hands make light work. So we need the people of this community. We need your input. We need to hear from you, and I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. The date and location of the next regular council meeting is August the 20th at 7 p.m. right here at Macadamic Place. I need a motion for adjournment. Okay, Councilor McKay, thank you.